I'm back, guys. So I'm gonna start my eyebrows. So first what I do is I draw them out with my Precisely My Brow pencil from Benefit. Ooh, this line is looking a bit crazy. Okay, it's not going to stay like that, but that's how it looks when I draw it out. This looks a little bit lopsided, but it's okay. We'll fix it up later. Okay, so drew that out. Now I'm going to put on my Bravo Conditioning Primer. So this is how I do my eyebrows. I know everybody has a different technique, but that's how I do my eyebrows. How do you do yours? Before, back in the days, I used to draw them out with a plain old pencil. Back in the day, I used to, my favorite brand when I was in my early 20s was Wet n Wild. I have no idea. I think Wet n Wild has definitely enhanced. Unfortunately, we don't have Wet n Wild over here in Europe, or at least not in Germany. I haven't seen it. But I've enhanced. I've moved up with my collection. So next I'm going to use Sephora Mascara Brow. This is Sephora brand. Before I used to wear Yves Saint Laurent Couture Brow, which is, I mean, these guys are basically the same. I mean, I still love my Yves Saint Laurent, but for some reason I don't find it anymore. I don't know, maybe they're discontinuing it. At least I don't find it in my color, so basically I just go through and I fill in my brows. So how many old school people do we have in the house? I had to ask that question. Well, I am old school, and that's okay. I like being old school. It's kind of cool when you can look back and reminisce, think about how things used to be, the music, how it's changed, and man, sometimes I be thinking, dang, the time just like flew. Okay, it really flew. Still can't believe that we're in 2021. That sounds so futuristic. And for some reason, you just always thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to be young forever. That's a lie. I think it's okay. wants to be young forever anyway. Just somehow, for some reason, people think when you're young that you're stupid or you don't know anything, and I used to hate that. But to some degree, you are kind of stupid in a certain sense. I mean, you just inexperienced, don't have too much. You haven't learned so many life lessons. The things back, what you thought meant a lot, didn't really mean a lot. You thought you had problems, but you really didn't have problems. You were just young and dumb. There's nothing against being young and dumb, but, So, my next step is the Studio Finish Concealer. And this is in the color NC45. Basically, I use this to shape up my eyebrows, to give them some form, to make them look good, to clean up this ugly mess, ugly drawings. They look kind of thick. I know they look a little bit Angry Bird-like, but I'm not an angry bird. I'm a sweet bird. So, I got my little tissue. My nose is always running. It's cold here. It's really cold in Germany. Okay, so. And, oh yeah, and basically I'm using the MAC brush. This little angle brush. It's a number, I think, 265 or 206. It's really hard to read these numbers. They rub off, unfortunately, because I use them so often. Oh gosh, my nose. So what kind of music did you listen to back in the days? What do you think about the music scene and how it's changed? So many repeats and redos in music. It's so crazy. Often I am hanging out with my daughter and she'll play a tune and I'm like, wait a minute, they redid that song. It's funny because when I was younger and I was listening to my music, my mom was like, that's an old song from back in the, 40s or 50s. And I'm just like, oh boy. And now I'm saying that to my child. Ooh, that's an old song. She'd be like, no, it's not. I'm like, here, let me play the original. And then she's like, oh my gosh. Thought it was something new. I basically had my phases when it came to music, the music world, or the music scene. I started off with listening to, what did I listen to? What was I listening to in the 80s? Well, I'm from the DC area, so if we got any Washingtonians, the music that's really popular in the DC area is go-go music. Yeah, it's go-go. So go-go music is like Chuck Brown, Rare Essence, EU, who else? Junkyard Band. That was my music. Oh man, I wanted so desperately to go to a go-go concert because basically go-go music you can only listen to live. I mean, you can't, it doesn't really sound so good pre-recorded. Not the same. You always had shout-outs. I like to, what they say? Oh yeah, they used to call it roll call. What's it called? Roll call. And then basically they would shout out the area that you were from. Whatever part of DC you were from, they would shout out, oh yeah, I would like to call out somebody's name, like, I don't know, what were typical names back then, because everybody had some type of nickname. I mean, kind of like today where you have little Wayne or little, little this or little that. Back then it was like names like Treetop or Big Head Fred, I don't know, or Bubba, I don't know, some crazy names. So they'll be calling you out. We got Bubba from Southeast, and then everybody, from Southeast would be like, yay! Or we have Shonda from Uptown, or I don't know, I'm trying to think, or K Street, all the DC districts. So that was really fun. But yeah, I was too young to go to a go-go, but I used to love it. I love to listen to it. I mean, if you did get it and it was pre-recorded, it was live pre-recorded, so gave you the feeling that you were listening to it live. Yeah, those were the days. And then during the time that the go-go was really big, rap was starting to come out, rap music. But the rap music is nothing like today. It was more educational, and it was coming out of New York. And rap was underground too, so that was also really cool. The styles, the whole scene was just like, it was so new and so fresh, and so many incredible artists came out or came out during that time. We were singing stuff and didn't know what we were singing, being educated at the same time. And then in the 90s, I kind of changed my direction. I wasn't listening so much to hip hop. I started getting into the grunge scene. Grunge was like really big. I know you're probably thinking, how do you go from rap and go-go to grunge? I don't know. I have appreciation for music, and I used to be really into. I also used to like classic music, or not classic, but classic rock. I loved classic rock, and I was all into the styles from back then, the 70s, the 60s. So of course, because of the clothes, I was attracted also to the music. Listen to Jimi Hendrix. Jimi Hendrix was like my favorite. The Doors. Led Zeppelin. Oh my goodness, I was a big Zeppelin fan. Yes, I listened to Led Zeppelin. I had a girlfriend back then, and she turned me on to it. Not girlfriend, but friend of mine. Well, the girl I was hanging out with, and she used to always listen to Zeppelin. And that's how I got into it. Or actually, yeah, that's how I started to really, get into the classic scene. So before grunge, I was listening to classic rock. I loved Black Sabbath. Oh man, I was a huge Black Sabbath fan. For me, it was so different and so creepy, but I don't know, it just kind of fit in the scene from during those times in the 60s and 70s. It was so different. Who else was there? Steppenwolf, and I loved some Allman Brothers. Yeah, and then I started getting into the grunge scene, because grunge was like really starting to blow up. Yeah. And then I don't know. Yeah, and I used to be a really big. I mean, I grew up off of MTV. I know I grew up. I'm an MTV baby. Back in those days, it was different. They had just came out. They started out in the 80s, I believe. And yeah. of stuff where they were playing. I mean, like I said, rap was just like, wasn't on the, just wasn't there. It wasn't like so mainstream like it is today. But you had a lot of pop artists, and most of the pop artists were coming out of England. So on MTV, they would show like Duran Duran and who were all the 80s bands basically, Devo, who else was really big? Gotta think about it now. Tears for Fears. Was it Tears for Fears? Tears for Fears. Who else? I don't know. However, I grew up off that music. And then like they had like a somewhat of a hard rock scene, but they weren't really hard rock. I mean, then Guns N' Roses came about, and I mean, this is all MTV stuff, all the stuff that they showed on MTV. And then they had like MTV was starting to branch off in different directions, so they had like the pop scene or the mainstream music, and then they had late at night Headbangers Ball used to come on. Oh my gosh, I was like, oh, I like Headbangers Ball. This is so different. Wow. I don't remember the moderator. He looked a bit crazy, but I was listening to the music, and then Soundgarden, they would play stuff like Soundgarden. And that's how I kind of started branching off into the grunge scene, because Soundgarden was from Seattle, from Washington. I mean, all that was coming out. Nirvana. Who else did they have? Red Hot Chili Peppers, although they weren't really from the grunge scene, but they were West Coast. Yeah, West Coast, yeah. But they weren't really headbangers. I mean, it was, who else was it? One of my favorite bands, Alice in Chains, yeah. And who else was there as well? Oh gosh, I can see the guy. I can't think of his name. You hate that. You thinking of something and then it doesn't come to you. However, I was listening to that, and then it just, like I said, I was a huge Headbangers Ball fan, and then they would show all the hardcore, heavy rock bands, and Metallica was really big. They used to show a lot of Metallica videos. And then there was this club I used to love to go to in Washington. What was it called? Oh man, what was that club called? I'm sure it'll come to me later, but there was this club that I used to hang out at. And it was only on Sundays. And then you had all these like really cool underground people who were listening to the same kind of music I was listening to, which was headbanging music and what else? Grunge. What was the name of that club? Oh, that bugs me. Yeah, I was really big into that music. And then who else came out on the scene? Rage Against the Machine. Oh man, Rage was like really cool because they were like mixing rap with hardcore rock, and they were so big on the scene. It wasn't really grunge, and they were so political too. They always made a statement, and it was just like good rage music. I don't know, I loved that rage music. I just felt like, I don't know, like I said, when you're young, you feel like the world is against you, or the world doesn't understand you, or you think you have problems, and you really don't. However, I loved that music because I just thought, oh, this is a good way to get out the frustration. And then, during that time that I was listening to headbanging music, then I was really getting, I was getting really deep into it. Like hardcore, heavy metal, and then I was listening to Pantera. Pantera was like my favorite band. Oh man. Pantera, Rage Against the Machine. Who else? Oh yeah, Danzig. He was like kind of underground, and although that's not really headbanging music, not really, but it was kind of heavy and deep and dark, so I kind of liked that. But on the same note, I also liked, not techno, but I liked, what do they call that music? Like, what is it? I don't know. Did anybody remember that movie Basic Instincts? And there was a scene where Sharon Stone was in the club with Michael Douglas, and they had like this seductive scene, and then that music that they were playing, and it was just like so cool, and it was like, yes. Oh, those were the days. I don't know, what do you call that music? It's not, I don't know, what do you call it? That music was really big. I can't even think of the name. How would you call it? What category that would be under? Because it's not really techno. And it's not house music. Computer music. I don't know. However, I was into that as well. And then, what else was I listening to? Oh yeah, I forgot to say back in the 80s. I was like really into a lot of different type of scenes and like music wise. So like I said, I was really into go-go music and then rap music. But then on the same note, I was also, at night, I used to go to sleep because DC had the best radio stations, the best jazz radio stations, because I love jazz as well. But it wasn't like your typical jazz. It was more like this smooth jazz. This I don't know, like Kenny G and not what is it, Najee? No, what's his name? Najee. It's like this smooth jazz. And then I was listening to on the radio. They were playing a lot of Sade at night. Who else? Another one of my old-time favorites. Oh man, damn, I'm getting old. I can't even recall some of these bands. What's that? Ricky, don't lose a number. Da, 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 da. Oh, Steely Dan. Yes. Oh, I love myself some Steely Dan. And yeah, not unfortunately, but in a strange way, they were like being played under like the jazz category, although they weren't really a jazz band. They were more like they started off kind of like a classic rock band. They were a little bit classic rocky, and then later on, they became more jazzy like. And I don't know, that they just had this sound. It was just, yeah, I just love that sound. I love Donald Fagen. He's like the lead singer or vocalist in the Steely Dan band. However, so I have a huge appreciation for music. But anywho, so like I said, I went from listening to go-go and rap to jazz, to jazzy sound, smooth jazz. Yeah, they called it smooth jazz. To listen to classic rock, but I also liked a lot of old R&B music, the music that my mom listened to. She was a huge James Brown fan, so I was listening to that as well. But I didn't have so much appreciation. She liked the Isley Brothers. I loved the Isley Brothers too, because they had a unique sound. They were from the 70s. So it was soul, but I I don't know, they had a little bit of a rocky tune to their sound. And the other day I was watching this one YouTuber and she was playing a little bit of Isley Brothers, so it kind of took me back because I was listening to them too. Yes, I'm all over the place with my music. I'm old school, but that's okay. I don't know, the music is nothing like it used to be back then. I mean, people were more original. I think today it's just a lot of copying. It's very hard to find artists who are genuine with their sound. So moving right along, yes, I was listening to a lot of, in the 90s, I was listening to a lot of hardcore heavy metal. What's another band I like? The Cult, I like them too, even though they're not really considered hardcore, but they had a unique sound. Okay, so now I'm using Huda Beauty. Oh, I'm sorry, I've been rambling and forgot to mention, I just put some concealer under my eyes from MAC, the Pro Long, in the color NC45. Probably don't see that, but yes. And now I'm using Huda Beauty, which is also a concealer, and I put that over my eyelids. It's like my base for my eyeshadow. So, moving right along, who else? Yeah, like The Call. I loved Henry Rollins. Henry Rollins, oh, he was so cute. Oh, gosh. I thought he was so handsome. And he also started off like a really like hardcore rock punk band in the beginning. And then later, yeah, his sound was, yeah, he became not really jazzy, but yeah, he was also quite political in his singings or in his tunes. But he was just like cute. I mean, he was hardcore punky, but he was built and just had a beautiful face. I don't know, today kind of lost it, but I guess at one point everybody loses it as they get older. And then I was still in the States. And then, yeah, and I loved the blues. I love blues music as well. I didn't live in the DC area the whole time. I moved to Baltimore. So in Baltimore, there were a lot of cool blues clubs in Fells Point. I believe that's the area. Yeah, so I was listening to a lot of blues. And also because this guy I was dating liked blues music. So that's how I kind of got into blues. And then when I moved to Europe, I mean, it was totally different, the scene, music-wise. I mean, I moved to Germany, so they were listening to, in the 90s, they were listening to a lot of, we were listening to techno. Yeah, techno was really big over here. And what else? Drum and bass. Yeah, I got into drum and bass. So I kind of fell out of the rock scene and was more into like the electrical or electronic, not electrical, electronic scene. I mean, techno was never really my thing. They had a lot of tech parties, and I don't know, I just couldn't get into that. But I really liked drum and bass. Drum and bass was really cool. I was really into drum and bass. LTJ Buckham. Who else was there? He was like my favorite. I think he was the only one I knew, but I just liked the whole scene. Oh yeah, and Four Heroes. They were also a big drum and bass band. I really like them. I still like them. I still have I have my moments. I don't know how you all are, but I have my moments and I have my nights and I have to go back and reminisce and listen to my old stuff. I guess everybody does at one point, especially as you get older and you really have an appreciation for that music and it really takes you back. But yeah, I have my drum and bass nights, or I'll have my hard rock night, and my kids will kind of look at me and like, oh my gosh, Mom, you listen to that crazy music? Yes, I was. I was listening to that music. And then, I don't know, I kind of like fell out of the music scene. I mean, what else? I mean, okay, there was house music, but I don't know, house music, I can only listen to so much, and then after a while it starts to sound the same. And then neo soul was being birthed. Erykah Badu. Oh my goodness, I loved myself some Erykah Badu. And she came out on the scene. Oh my gosh, that whole sound was just like so cool. Although I think like Erykah Badu, I mean, for me she's like somewhat of the queen of neo soul, but before her there was Michelle Indicello. Oh my goodness, I think she was like the first person who really started the neo soul scene. She had a unique sound, and she came out like, I don't know, she was big. It was like right before I left to come to Europe. I came to Europe in 96 or 97. And she kind of started that whole neo smooth, kind of like a jazzy sound. And then Erykah Badu came out as well during that time. Yeah, I was really a big Erykah Badu fan. I still am, but I don't know. Her sound, I don't know, the thing about Erykah Badu is, I don't know, she always takes a long time to come out with her music. She did an album like every 4 years, so you would be listening to it, and it's just like, okay, when you coming out with something new? But I guess it was kind of cool because, I mean, she wasn't like mainstream, and I never really liked mainstream music. Okay, so now I'm going to apply my eyeliner to my lower eyeline. I guess that's how you would call it. And this is MAC Technical, oh, I can't pronounce that liner. In the color Photo Gravure. This is my go-to eyeliner. I love this eyeliner, and I love to do like smoky looks, so I'm always using that. Yeah. So, during the process of waiting for Erykah Badu to come out with her new music or new album, Jill Scott came on the scene. And she had kind of like that similar sound to Erykah Badu, but somehow different. I mean, they weren't the same, but she also had that like neo soul type of sound. So I was listening to a lot of her. And what else? And then it was just like, I don't know, that whole neo scene and lounge music and yeah, the soulful, jazzy sound was really big back then. And that was like in 2000. Early 2000. Okay, so what am I going to use now? Foundation. Gotta put some foundation on. So this is Studio Fix Fluid from MAC. I'm a huge MAC fan, so I like using MAC. I'm gonna blend in my foundation with a beauty blender. And I'm gonna beat my face. Smooth out my look. Blend everything in together. So yes, yeah, and then pretty much after that, I mean, I got really into listening to neo soul and like what do you call that music? Soul, lounge, electrical music, lounge sound. That was really popular in the 2004. Heroes was big. So they were still using or playing, drum and bass, but they were going more in the direction of smooth loungy sound, if that makes any sense. So I got really big into that. But on the same note, also like a bit of housey music was coming out, or wasn't really housey. I gotta look that up, what kind, because it wasn't really house music. 1 second, I'll be right back. Okay guys, so I'm back. So anywho, I was listening to neo soul, smooth lounge, but smooth lounge, I guess it came out like later, later 2000. I guess it came out like 2004, 5. But before that, there were more so beats music. What else did they have? Dub music was really big back then. And then I was buying music like crazy. So I was hanging out with a friend of mine, and I had this crazy idea, or she had this crazy idea. Said, you invest so much in music, why don't you DJ? So there was this one club or a bar we used to hang out at, and so she was like, why don't you why don't you ask this guy if you can DJ? Because they had a DJ pool. He's like, why don't you ask the guy there if you can DJ? So I went up to the guy and I was like, listen, I'm a DJ, and do you need a DJ? And he's like, yeah, we need a DJ. And so I decided to come there with all my CDs, and I had no idea what I was doing, but I had to fake it until I could make it. So I was DJing there. Then I had a few years where I was DJing, playing all my music. 1 second, I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back. So I was DJing. I did that for a few years. And then I stopped because I had my second child. And I was DJing up in the clubs until I was like big and pregnant, but I didn't care. I loved my music. And then I kind of, what was I listening to? I was still into the beat sound and smooth jazz and smooth lounge. I never really went into the reggae scene. No, that's not true. Oh man, no, I did listen to reggae, but I wasn't listening to reggae. I was listening to dance hall, and dance hall was really big back in the in the 80s, late 80s. Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot all about that. Yeah, see, man, I tell you, I was listening to everything. I was all into all types of scenes. Yeah, that's right. That's right. So I was listening to in the 80s. To I was into hip hop, rap, go go. Well, go go was falling off, but I was really into the dance hall scene. Yes, I love dance hall music. So I was a big dance hall fan. Yes, that's right. And I'm still to this day. But I don't like the new dance hall music. I like more the old school dance hall with Super Cat and who else was also Shabba Ranks. Yeah, Shabba Ranks was really big. He was ugly as I don't know what, but his music was just on top. I don't know, something about his voice. It was just so like just drew you in. And Super Cat. Those were my favorites, Super Cat and Shabba Ranks. But just like the whole scene, yeah. So when I reminisce and then have my moments where I have my days where I have to listen to a certain type of music, I do the same with dance hall music. Okay, guys. So now I'm gonna grab a palette and let's see. I'm gonna use. Oh, la, 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 la. Okay. The other day I wanted to use my Morphe, but now I'm going to use it today. This is the Morphe 15S Social Butterfly. And these are the colors that are inside. They're so pretty. Okay, so I'm going to start off using AD as my base, which is this one. And I use my MAC 217 brush. I guess that's 217. I use that for blending. I start that out. It's my blending or my base color. Yes, so anywho, as the times progressed, what was I listening to? Yeah, I was still big on, in the early 2000s, I was still big on neo soul. And then I had a bit of a house scene as well, house music scene. When I was DJing, I was into house music. But I never DJ'd in like major clubs or anything like that. I was more DJing at bars because that was quite big in Germany, listening to, you had DJs at bars. I'm not sure how it was in the States, but that was really big over here. Instead of going to clubs. I mean, there were people going to clubs, but, they also, went to bars to listen to some loungy music or some good house. So that's where I came in. And I did that, like I said, I did it for a few years, and then I stopped when I got my kitty. And then I was DJing from at home. And then, like I said, I kind of fell out of the music scene. I still listen to music now that my kids are somewhat big, older. They're like really into trap music. I guess that's what you would call it. And I have an appreciation for that music as well, too. I mean, I love some Drake, even though I wouldn't consider him as trap music. I guess trap music would be like Future, I guess. Or Pop Smoke. I don't know. He's not really trap music, is he? I don't know which category that music is. But some of this gangster hardcore stuff is a little too much. Lots of cursing. I don't care too much for that. I remember back in the day, I mean, curse word, cursing and saying the N word was just like, oh my gosh, no, he didn't. That music was censored. You had to be a certain age to listen to that kind of music, and if you did, it was just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe he said that. Now today, it's like the norm, and it's scary because my kids are listening to that, and it's just like, some of the stuff that flies out of their mouths, I'm just like, oh my gosh, he didn't say that, crazy. Yes, music is nothing like it used to be. So innocent. They took the music to a whole new level. I used to sell vintage clothing, and so I used to sell my clothes online, and I also used to go and set up at different locations where they were selling vintage clothing, like if there was like a vintage clothing market, I would set up my stand there. And so during that time, and also there was this one club or bar, not club, bar slash, they had like a little dance floor and stage. I used to go and set up my stuff there. And so there was like a swing dance music scene going on where people were listening to swing music, which is music from back in the 40s and 50s. It was like the swing time. And there I used to set up, and so I also got into swing music. Yes, swing music. What is swing music? Kind of like, okay, Chuck Berry. He was more like rock and roll swing. I have to think about it. What would be like swing music? But yeah, the swing dancing. So I kind of got into that scene too. I know, I'm crazy. I like music, but not all music. Just like cool and interesting music. Okay, so I think I'm gonna take the color now, Makeover. Yes, that's one of my go-to colors in my eyeshadow palettes. I like the color Makeover. That's this one here. This one. It's a good color to use. And I'm going to apply that to my, I guess you would say, crease. I'm going to put that in the crease. And I'm using the my Naked, my Urban Decay brush. Unfortunately, there's no number on it, but it kind of looks like this. Too bad I couldn't play any music in the background. At least the music that I listen to. Yeah, and unfortunately with the COVID going on, you can't hit the bars like you used to. Or you can't go out and listen to music, so you can only listen to it from at home. I don't know. I don't know. I hope we can go back to being normal. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to happen, though. I think things have changed. The way of living has changed. The way that we listen to music has changed. I mean, literally everything is online, and I don't know. I'm kind of wondering if they're going to be making videos anymore during the COVID time. And what's going to happen with the music scene. Is any new music going to come out? Any new style of music? So, I'm going for a bit of a smoky look. So, now I'm going to take another Urban Decay brush, and I'm going to use, which color am I going to use? Let's see how hot Side Hustle. I don't know if that's a good one. I want something dark for my bottom eye, because I like to smoke it out down here. You know, smoke it out. I think I might go for Influencer, which is this guy here. Or, no, you know what? I think I'm going to try a new palette. Try something else. I might take the Jeffree Star Bloodlust. This is a huge palette. I mean, it's huge. I don't know. I have this habit when I buy palettes. I always like to keep the palette still in the box. I don't know why, but it's just something I like. I like my stuff to still look original. It looks like that, basically. It's really pretty, but big. It's really big. Does not fit in my palette pockets. He's special, so I have to put him elsewhere. So those are the colors that are in the palette. And I'm going to use now, I'm going to take, because I want something dark, I'm going to use Dungeon. That's this one here. I like this palette. It's a really, oops, wrong brush. And I'm going to smoke it out, baby. Not walk it out, but smoke it out. Yes. Oh. So. I also like, I also have appreciation for salsa and merengue, although I like more merengue music. I would not, I don't know, I'm not the person that will go to a salsa club, although I've been to a few, but I'm always too shy to dance. I feel like everybody just got out of a salsa class, dance class, you know, the way they dance. Everybody just dances so perfect. I'm a type of person, if I'm gonna dance, and I'm gonna do my own thing, you know. But I just have this impression that when you go to a salsa club, that people are always looking and watching, seeing, you know, checking out your moves. So, but I definitely have a huge appreciation for salsa, and I also love bossa nova. Oh, I love bossa nova music. I was listening to bossa nova also back in the days. Also back in the early 90s. How did I get turned on to that? Yeah, I met this one guy, and yeah, he was listening. No, no, yeah, and he liked Stan Getz. Yeah, he turned me on to Stan Getz. Was it Stan Getz? And also, remember this radio station I was telling you about in DC where they played a lot of this smooth jazz? They were playing a lot of Sade and Steely Dan, but they were also in that moment playing a lot of bossa nova tunes as well. You know, they would throw something in there, and they would play The Girl from Ipanema, and I just thought, oh, this music is so dreamy. So yeah, I love bossa nova as well. And I still do. I still like bossa nova music. I just every time I listen to that music, I feel like I'm on vacation, or I don't know. I can see me in the Copacabana. And then when I listen to salsa or merengue music, I feel like I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna be at some. I feel like I'm at some party, or I shouldn't be here in the cold in Germany when I'm listening to that music. I don't know. I feel like I should be at some type of festival outside and eating. I don't know. How is it for you all? Do you also have that feeling when you're listening to merengue or salsa? It's like happy music. See, I get happy when I think about it. I mean, I'm happy anyway, but I get even happier. Okay, so now I'm going to do my little wing on my eyes, and I like to use Yves Saint Laurent Noir #1 Noir Minimal Matte. I like matte. I don't like the shiny version of the eyeliner. I like my stuff to be matte. I think it looks kind of crazy. So I'm not finished my eye look. I'm gonna go back in and put some type of, I don't know, glitzy in there to bring out the eye and make it look pow. Okay, so do you guys know how to do wing lines? I basically always pull my eye back, and then I draw out the wing. Bring it over. Ooh, I made it quite big, but it's okay. Looks like that. And then I fill it in. So that's my wing look. Okay, so do the other one. So, oh, that's my other wingy wing look. Okay, so got a little something in my eye. I love to poke out my lips. So, okay, now I'm gonna put some blush on from NARS. And again, Fard à Joie Produra. Oh gosh, I don't want to pronounce it. It looks like that. If you guys can see it. Well, my camera looks backwards, but However, this is the blush that I like to use. This is, I basically use it every day. It's nice. It's a nice color. My news. That's what it looks like. And then I use my NARS brush for applying my blush. This is my blush brush. I just do a little bit on my nose, just to add a little bit of color. Now, a lot of people contour. I try contouring, but I don't know. I'm just not a big contour fan. I have my phases, so I'll probably start contouring again, but I don't know, no time soon. I'm kind of happy with my face just being a little bit like this. I used to contour my nose and my cheeks, but I don't do that anymore. It adds time to the process, and if you want to like do something fast, and as you see, it's not that fast. Well, when I apply my makeup, I need at least an hour, if not more. Okay, so now I'm going to use MAC highlighter in the color Snow Flushed Extra Dimension Skin Finish. This was actually on a promotion. Well, not really promotion, but it was like a offer during the holiday season about 2 years ago. And I love this. I love this highlight. It's really like my everyday. Okay, so now I'm going to go back and add something to my eyes because I need to have like a pow look to my eyes. I always do this. And I guess you guys wondering, why is she putting on makeup during quarantine? I mean, yes, we are quarantined here in Germany. We can't go out. I know, this sucks. But I don't know, I feel like, why do I have to walk around looking crazy, okay? I mean, I want to continue, doing what I would normally do if I was still outside, so why should I stop? And this is a fun time to play around with makeup and try out new trends. So that's why I still put on makeup. All right, so with this palette from Jeffree Star, they have great like colors for giving you that pow effect. So I usually put it here and there. And I'll probably take the color Wet Jewel, which is this like really pinky pink color, glitzy. I'm going to use that. Oh, that's such a pretty color. Looks like that. See, it adds a little bit of a pow effect. Okay guys, so I'm back. I've applied my Ardell Remy lashes. Makes a big difference, doesn't it? And now, last but not least, I'm going to apply my lipstick. So which lipstick color am I going to take? Well, lately I've been using the Fenty Balm, and I will probably use that again when I find it. Oh, what the heck is it? Yes. Is this it? Yeah. Or no? Yes. Yeah, this is a gloss bomb. This is Diamond Mink. I'm going to use the color Diamond Mink today. Bit of glitzy glitz. Oh, it smells so good when it goes on. Some people use like a lip liner. I very rarely use a lip liner. Only if I'm trying to get like a ombre look, but I don't use that. So it's got a very shimmery, glossy look to it. And that's my look, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and listening to my music, how can I say, my music talk. I hope you enjoyed it. I don't know, I'm curious to know who your favorite bands were and who you listened to, and does it take you back to those times? It'd be interesting to hear about it. Either way, thank you, and yeah, try to stay positive during these crazy times, and yeah, I mean, do some makeup, put some makeup on, or put on some of those old bands, or have your moments, you know, put on the music that you used to listen to, put on some new music, and yeah, what do I want to say with this? Live inside, you know, do something. Don't get all gloomy during these times. Learn something. Do your makeup. Okay? All right. Either way, have a good day. Have a good weekend. Talk to you and see you later. Bye.